Товарищи танкисты, принимайте в распоряжение трофейный украинский танк. Пусть...
Hi guys, it's Ed. Welcome back to Warthog Defense. The ineffectiveness, low morale, poor training and inadequate equipment are not the only headaches for the Russian forces in Ukraine. The main problem is corruption. They are so corrupt that they can bribe a Russian officer for almost anything, from securing paid leave to avoiding frontline deployment. Let's explore the story.
Corruption is flourishing in the Russian army. Court records show that commanders demand bribes for all kinds of services, from keeping troops out of the front line, to allowing them to go to hospital, or even to enable men to avoid punishment for being drunk on duty. Verska has reviewed the offenses listed in over 1,000 verdicts in military bribery cases to identify patterns of corruption in the Russian army during the war in Ukraine. While corruption has always been present, it has taken new forms during the war. It is fairly common for Russian commanders to demand bribes from their men for various services. Pre-war, these included things such as being allowed to take days off or go on leave, undertaking a physical training test, which enables a salary increase, changing a military rank, obtaining a Category C driver's license, which gives the right to drive trucks, evading punishment for using a mobile phone or drinking on duty. Since the start of the full-scale war in February 2022, the menu has expanded to include more services, certificates of injury, which allow for compensation and other state benefits, nominations for medals and awards, avoiding combat missions. This can be very lucrative for corrupt officers. For example, a certificate of injury can cost between 150,000 and 1 million rubles, $1,671 to $11,142, while being allowed to end a contract early can cost 400,000, $4,456. Permission to go to hospital can cost 130,000, $1,448. Serving and ex-soldiers have commented on the persistence of corruption in the military. One Rosgvardia, National Guard volunteer, says that they sell holidays, they don't send people on assaults for money, and they also extort them for drunkenness. Well, with such commanders, I am not surprised. There is a terrible mess. The lawlessness is complete, and there is a lot of lawlessness. He says that the Rosgvardia is much less corrupt because its members come from law enforcement backgrounds. A Spetsnaz, Special Forces soldier, says that mobilized men and recent volunteers are the most corrupt. Holidays, wounds, trips home, even awards can be paid for, he says. We had Mobiks from Tula living in a neighboring house to us in Luhansk, who had been there for months, paying to stay off the front. They sat there forever. They paid 150,000 rubles a month. In their company, as I understand it, everything was on stream there. But then they closed the shop. Bribes for holidays or hospital stays. There's a lot of that now. 30,000 rubles to go home, from 50,000 rubles to go to the hospital. You'll have to pay extra for injuries. Roman Solovyov, a mobilized soldier, was double-crossed by his commander when he paid a 40,000 ruble bribe to get out of going on a combat mission. The officer had approached him to offer him the deal, and Solovyov transferred the money to the officer's wife's bank account. However, Solovyov was still ordered to go on the mission 2 days later. He complained to the FSB and subsequently testified against his superior. Another common scam is for soldiers to fight only on paper, a variant of the famous Dead Souls scam, which Gogol wrote about back in 1842. In one example, 11 soldiers bribed their commander to list them in the order of battle for an attack, but to be allowed to stay behind. The bribe consisted of the purchase of a Kavkaz souvenir picnic set costing 20,000 rubles, $222, for the commander's wife, which she picked up from a delivery point. One of the soldiers was later convicted of bribery. It's not clear what happened to the commander. Commanders have also been convicted for issuing certificates of injury for fictitious wounds. Ironically, soldiers with real wounds have had to resort to bribery or legal action to get the certificates they are entitled to. The case of platoon commander Evgeny Rybalchenko is a good illustration of this. He issued certificates in exchange for 5 to 10% of the recipient's injury compensation and received 450,000 rubles, $5,013 from 2 soldiers for this service. Similarly, the head of the personnel department of the Volgograd garrison, Andrei Gorshinev, took bribes for expediting the notoriously slow process of issuing injury certificates. Gorshinev and Rybalchenko were both jailed and heavily fined. Many soldiers have been fined for paying what appears to be a standard fee of 2,000 rubles, $22.28, to avoid punishment for using their mobile phones at the front. This is a highly risky practice, as mobile phone signals can be used to locate defensive positions. Bribes for being allowed to take time off are also very common. The standard fee appears to be between 1,000 and 2,500 rubles, $11.14, $27.86. But this can go up to as much as 60,000, $668, for major holidays such as New Year. In one example, a contract soldier serving in Luhansk complained in November 2023 that his unit was not being allowed to go on leave unless they paid bribes. "We were supposed to go on holiday with the guys on the 23rd, he said. All the documents were agreed, but at the last moment, all leave was canceled. They said that no one was going anywhere until mid-February. The situation is that our immediate commander has organized a scheme for himself, and we can negotiate with him for money to go on leave after all. Many people are ready to pay, but my boys and I are not ready, because it's complete bullshit. Some mobilized soldiers have even bribed officers to obtain medals and awards, to the disgust of professional soldiers. A Spetsnaz soldier says, "Moscow Mobiks bought themselves military medals last year. This is fucking rock bottom. I would just whip the fuck out of them." In one instance that resulted in a conviction, Alexander Kipyachkin took a bribe of 300,000 rubles, $3,342, to add a soldier to a list of applicants for a state award. The soldier did actually receive an award, but Kipyachkin was caught by the FSB and given 5 years in jail. Those who receive bribes have tended to receive fairly severe punishments, but those who give bribes rarely appear to be punished harshly and are mostly only fined. They are shown leniency, particularly if they are combat veterans or donate to charity before a hearing.
Thank you guys for watching. I hope you liked this video. Stay with Warthog Defense for the newest Ukrainian updates. Comment, like, subscribe, become our member, and stay strong.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.